Hi, I'm Andrew Sears, and we've developed this faculty training session for our faculty on the online teaching best practices. And I'm here with Aaron Johnson, who is the Dean of Educational Technology, Assistant Dean of Educational Technology at Denver Seminary. And he's also the author of Excellent Online Teaching and Online Teaching with Zoom. And those are two books that we've used with our faculty, especially because they're very concise about the best practices you can use. And I've asked Aaron to share some additional thoughts on best practices as supplemental material for our faculty. So with that, Aaron, if you want to just jump into your material, that would be great.
Yeah, be great. So I'm happy to be with you, and hopefully I can be as concise in these recordings as I am in the book. I'm a big fan of the 80-20 principle that, 20% of what we do is really worth our time, is really what brings about the results. So let's just jump in with this idea of thinking about how we think about education, because for most of us, we've grown up in a in-seat education or residential environment, brick and mortar environment. So when we move to online education, there are some things that stay the same and some things that are major changes for us. And I think that one of the most important things is just to really remain aware that we have a lot of assumptions about how people learn. And people learn in different ways. So as you go to teach online, you're stepping into a learning process yourself. And so staying open and curious about how different people learn and about how online education is different is going to serve you really, really well. The second thing is that successful online instructors will prioritize creating an active learning environment over their course content. So the material is core, it's important. But students working with that is even more important. So a friend of mine who's like a nutritionist, they had shared with me, he and his wife, that like a blueberry, if you were to like take all the sugar in a blueberry and you were to eat it and it didn't have any fiber in it, so it has all this fiber inside the blueberry, your body would have like almost like shock from eating it because it has so much sugar. But it's designed to have the fiber in it, and it basically helps you to metabolize that sugar and break it down. And so that's what I think of, like when you're serving students with this really rich, high octane content, they also need opportunity to work it through, that to metabolize that and to integrate it both into the context that they're working in and into their own hearts and lives. So this is a great quote from Chickering and Ehrman. It says that learning is not a spectator sport. Students do not learn much just sitting in classes, listening to teachers, memorizing prepackaged assignments and spitting out answers. They must talk about what they're learning, write reflectively about it, relate to past experiences, and apply it to their daily lives. They must make what they learn part of themselves. I love that last statement. I'll say it again. They must make what they learn part of themselves. So the third piece is that successful online instructors develop a structure and rhythm to their work. So I'm not talking about the work that the students are doing. I'm talking about your work, that as you're teaching, it's not ad hoc. It's not like jumping on the phone when you get a notification. It's not reactive. It's very much proactive and planned out. And I think that the instructors who are most successful, I can tell by looking at their calendar, they've blocked out times during the week, and it's a regular rhythm in which they participate and engage with their students. This also helps just to keep you sane, because with online education, there's no door to close to the classroom and lights to turn off. There's not a sense of closure. You've got to create that for yourself. And so that's a really important thing for online instructors to take ownership of, is to say, hey, this is when I'm available. These are my response times. This is when I'm teaching, and this is when I'm doing the rest of my life. The fourth thing is that successful online instructors prioritize interaction over content. So this is similar to number two. I think of number two as being in how you go about designing your course. Number four here, interaction over content, is probably the difference between like kind of theologically this idea of deism versus a God who's really active in our lives. So in deism, the idea was theologically that God kind of set the world up like a clock. He designed it, and then he has then a kind of laissez-faire, passive relationship with the world. Versus a theology that believed that God designed it, yes, but also is actively involved in the world, in redemption, in being sovereign over his creation. So I've seen online instructors often take a deistic approach where they're like, oh, I just built it, and now I don't really have to interact. I can just step back and let the product kind of do its thing. But what your students are dying for are your like active presence in the course on a regular basis, working through and wrestling through the content with them.